other interesting political news, you have Vivek firing 1 million federal employee tweet, getting 441 views in 2 days. And my apologies, I know it's Vivek, but partially just reminisces about his earlier rap career where he is known as Vivek, which, again, he should definitely, that might help him in the polls and connect with the youth more. A little bit of the rap music, some might say. Now, go ahead, and it's an exceedingly short clip, but nevertheless, perhaps that's one of the reasons it went viral. So, in the text that he has prior to his clip on the Twitter, now known as the X, let me know in the comments, does anyone call that, in real life, does anyone actually use the term X when they converse with humans to talk about the platform? Anecdotally speaking, it seems like most of the folks I know still call it Twitter. But nevertheless, you have Vivek, Vivek. Again, practice makes perfect in theory. I'd like to think I'm getting better at some of these things. Let me know in the comments if you think I have, or granted, I still have work to do. Nevertheless, Vivek says, quote, "We will fire 1 million federal employees in 2025. Meanwhile, there are over 8 million job openings in America right now." And without further ado, and of course, he had the common decency and the wardrobe fortitude to suit up. Because you always look better. Now that I think about it, perhaps I should start a suit company for an additional business.
And large-scale mass layoffs are absolutely what we will bring to the D.C. bureaucracy, both because it is necessary and it is sanctioned by the law of the United States of America.
That is powerful words. Hopefully he doesn't visit Dallas, Texas. The last politician and president who tried to shrink the government, it didn't end so well for him. Though I'm sure it was just that random person that went after him. Of course. For the record, I do love life. Now, in terms of the feedback, and again, within 2 days, I got 441.6 thousand views and 6,865 likes. And I know public schools are all-time low in terms of their proficiencies and their test scores, so we'll do a little bit of math here today. So 6,865 divided by 441,600, that gives us 0.0155. Now we're going to turn that into a percentage. Multiply that by 100, and we get a percentage of 1.55. Or, if you feel ambitious, depending on where you are around in the decimal system, you could actually go to 1.6 if you feel so inclined. We've now done more education than some public sector schools, which is saying something. But in all seriousness, well, partial seriousness, I digress. Going on to the comments and the feedback, you have someone by the name of Propaganda Sniper X. Now this person says, quote, "We're 33 trillion in debt. Vivek Ramaswamy is 99.99 accurate in this statement that the federal government is 63.4% up to 75% overstaffed. Mostly jobs created for friends and family members of elected politicians and appointed officials. The cut in payroll dollars, staff headcount, and contract employees are necessary to reach equilibrium." That person got 3,390 views and 50 likes, coming in at a 1.47% like ratio. Now, it is ridiculous to think how bloated and how large the government has grown since the founding fathers first thought of the greatest nation and wrote the most perfect documents in history. Some might argue only second to the Ten Commandments. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights is the ones I know I have to specify because less Americans actually know about these sacred documents, which is quite concerning. But the government has literally millions of employees. And there's a lot of fat you could trim, so to say. Now, the issue with this statement is he's not going to get those votes. Now, granted, he's a Republican or he's running for the Republican nominee, so he's probably not going to get any public sector votes from the federal government since, in terms of just being selfish if you're a government federal worker, would you rather vote for the person who's going to exponentially increase your budget and give you lots and lots of monies, or the person who wants to be more fiscally responsible and cut the budget? Now, don't get me wrong. I know Republicans are very disappointing when they actually get in office. They sometimes rarely cut budgets, depending on where, local versus federal, where have you. Sometimes they do. They need to do more, though. My 3 cents. So that's actually, now that I think about it, that statement probably won't lose him too many votes. Let me know in the comments, because that is 1 million people that he's saying your job's gone. And granted, he's not saying specifically, Bobby, you at the public education department, your job's gone. Like, he's not saying that, but it's one of those things where, man, I don't think there's, again, overwhelmingly, you look at voting trends, I don't think they would have voted for him anyway because he's running to be the Republican nominee. So let me know in the comments, do you think this will actually, if anything, just gain him votes? In which case, it's a very prudent business decision, or in this case, a political decision on the chessboard, so to say. But a couple more comments. You have somebody named of Jay Grusum saying, quote, net result, lost 1 million votes at most, unquote. That person got 5,262 views and 39 likes, coming in a ratio of 1.3%. You also have a gentleman by the name of Michael Austin saying, quote, this needs to be the standard for all GOP candidates. Too bad most of the party is part of the system, unquote. That person got 2,591 views and 51 likes, getting a ratio of 1.97%. And he does bring out a big problem with the GOP. There are a lot of rhinos, and that is a pejorative term known as Republican in name only. And they all campaign saying, oh yeah, we're going to cut this, we're going to cut that. And more often than not always, they get elected and then they acquiesce from all responsibility and promises that they made. One of the most disappointing things, but not surprising things, about politics. And again, I think the people who had previously got them in power, you need to have a better candidate, primary them, and vote them out. But back to the comments. You have somebody named Brett Vanderkin saying, quote, it's a win-win situation, unquote. That person got 2,388 views and 32 likes. Not too shabby, coming in at a ratio of 1.34%. So, interestingly enough, I think the more you listen to him, well, the more you know he actually read the Constitution, which is a rare thing these days. But do you think this will gain him the libertarian votes? Because that is a big voting block. Granted, not big relative to the ginormous, bloated Democrats and Republican parties. They're big beyond all belief, both in financing and their waistlines, ironically enough. Well, pun? Nevertheless. But will this gain him more independent voters, or will it force them, or will it push them in the opposite direction? I think for constitutionalists and people who want to decrease the budget, which everyone should, again, we're $33 trillion in debt. That's ridiculous. And again, Republicans and Democrats both made it bad. You could look at the spending and see which ones made it worse yourselves. But it's one of those things where someday the bill's going to come due. And granted, some people might just say, yeah, we can just sell off Alabama. But yeah, but still, they have something there. Nevertheless, that might not be a conceivable option. We'd have to sell something else. Something to think about, because the bill will eventually come due sooner than I believe we think. That I think is something that everyone should be running on as well. Be like, we need to cut this. We need to somehow become fiscally responsible. Somehow. Like, it should be, you see this in the private sector every day. Decrease your expenses, make a profit. The United States used to be a profitable country, but I digress from that point. Do you think this will gain the independent voters? I think it will gain some libertarian voters. And I don't think they put a nominee forward yet. So it's one of those instances where, again, not all their policies and beliefs align with the conservative Republican Party. Otherwise, they would just all be Republican. But I think many of them align in that regard. Again, not all of them, but I suspect perhaps a majority of their belief systems, or perhaps their core voting issues, which usually people will vote, single issue voters, a common phrase. Yes, a specific topic that you are focused on completely. That's what means the most to you. That's how some people choose candidates. But I think this will gain some more in the middle. But as I always say, time to shout. Let me know in the comments. Do you think he's gaining steam, and will he gain those votes? Will he actually get the nominee? That will be interesting. But I would say, time shall tell. Thank you, everyone, so much for taking the time to tune in today. Also, I know we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of September, so if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to take the time to like and comment the video. I really appreciate your feedback, whether you're on the front line of UAW or in the corporate office at Ford. Your feedback makes the show much more interesting, and it's able to make me update the videos with even more data, and it really helps it, I think, make a better experience. And also, the feedback improves the show because, thanks to the comments, I realize I need to actually work on my enunciation as well as my articulation and slowing down a little bit when I'm speaking, So together, we're going to make the show together that much better, and I greatly appreciate your participants. Also, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.